Good morning, traders. Welcome to the live trading room. I hope you are all doing great and you've had a great weekend. I've got the Bitcoin chart that we can start looking at right now. Let's look at this and see what could potentially play out here on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, as you know, we have been looking at this current pullback as a three-wave here and a three-wave there. Now this looks like another three waves to the downside as follows. Could these three waves be over and Bitcoin be ready for another move to the upside? As follows. Let me just do this and channel this. I'm gonna take the one at the top. Just channel this like this. Is this a possibility on Bitcoin where we would have this pullback as a W, X, Y structure and Bitcoin is ready for another leg higher? So let's see how that plays out. We have not broken above 50 here on the stock, on the RSI. Okay, so if we break up higher, then that will confirm upside. But there's another possibility on the same structure. Instead of breaking out with the current move, this becomes now the three waves for the second leg. Okay, so that means we've got W, X, and Y. Still the same structure, but we can come back for one more down at current levels, looking at this as a expanding or running flat, whichever one is going to play out here. We are not above 50 as yet, so that's why there's still a possibility for that. But if we start breaking out of this structure, we start breaking out of this, then we're going to start looking for the next leg higher on Bitcoin, possibly to go and retest the previous highs at 58 on Bitcoin. Right, it may not go and break above. Let's just have a look at other possibilities. So if this is a three-wave structure, we may be looking at a structure as follows. Three waves down, three waves up, three waves down. Maybe another three waves up. Depending on how this plays out, we retest and then we go. So we may stay here for some time. So let's monitor Bitcoin. If we get a setup here, we are going to definitely take it, because what if it just goes straight here and all the way to new highs? So if we get a setup here on Bitcoin, we're going to be looking to take it. How do we confirm a new setup? We need to see the 4-hour candle closing above here. So if you are comfortable with where you're going to put your stop on Bitcoin, so we need to see this one break. If it breaks up above here, we're going to put our stop loss around 40,000, and look for this to go for another high here. At around this level, if we break above this level, we put our stop back onto entry. So that means we run that trade risk-free. That is free trading. I don't personally sell Bitcoin. Every time we get these pullbacks, I add a little bit more. Okay, so that's what I've been doing with Bitcoin ever since we got to the low 3,800s a couple of years back, about 3 years back. Let me just show you, just to remember where I got in with my first few Bitcoins. Let's just see here. So I was not trading Bitcoin up until this level here, around 4,000. I was actually looking for this move here. So this was around where I started trading Bitcoin, when it went around 4,500. That's when I started accumulating some Bitcoins. So from around here, it was about 4,500. That's where I started accumulating some Bitcoins, right? So that's what we have there on Bitcoin. So what are we expecting? I've shown the structure yesterday that this is on the daily. This is on the daily. I actually showed it on the weekly. This looks like a 1, 2, and all of this that's happening here is a 3-wave move to the upside. And this looks like is the current wave 4 for this green degree. And this can, if you remember the rule of alternation, this one took long to play out. This is wave 2. And if this is the wave 4, it's possible that it is sharp the way it is right now. Then this is actually a 3. then a 4, and then upside. So rule of alternation, if this one goes sideways, since this one normally is sharp. So, but what we typically expect is vice versa. Wave 2 is the one that usually retraces sharp, and wave 4 goes sideways. But if it does happen like this, we do expect that wave 4 retraces sharply like this. Right, but that is not a rule, it is just an observation. It's a rule of alternation. So let's see if we're going to be getting another leg higher on Bitcoin. A break above it, you need a break above this current structure to confirm. Okay, you need a break above the current structure. If you're not comfortable putting your stop at 40,000 from around 46,000, you may want to wait for this correction here on the 4-hour, or rather on the 1 hour, so you can have a tighter stop. That is if you're trading this. That is Bitcoin. Let's run through the rest of the cryptos so long. There's also divergence. There's some divergence, but that divergence does not mean anything unless we break above this. Doesn't mean anything unless we break above this. So we can see some divergence. This is making new lows. The RSI is already making highs, but as long as the RSI is below 50, it doesn't matter what divergence is making there. So we are at the top here. So if we're going to look for a trade, we may find the one on the 1 hour. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Ethereum will have obviously a similar structure. You can see the divergence there. So we may be going for another one to the upside. Is this ready for a push to the upside? Again, we've seen 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. Are we going to get this correction here and then upside? As you can see on the 4-hour, on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, you don't have a trade set up as far as this is concerned. This, as long as it's below 50, it is still telling us that we can have one more down. So if we're getting one more down, it is that similar structure that I would have shown you on Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3 down here. 1, 2, 3 down there. Pull back. 1, 2, 3 down there. W, X, Y, Z, and then upside. Okay, so that is if this does not break up above here. So that can come back for one down. If it's coming for one down and divergence still continues like that, then we're going to see that make a move to the upside. Right, so that is Ethereum and what we're going to be looking at. Are we going to get a break currently? Let's watch Litecoin. Same structure. Are we ready for a move higher? We are at the top here. We are still below 50, so likely we are going to get one more move to the downside. But that does not mean that it is going to continue to the downside like that. We may be getting the last bit of a move to the downside here as follows: 1, 2, 3 down, and then upside. So let's keep an eye on this structure. It's a corrective structure, W, with 3 waves here, 3 waves there, 3 waves could potentially play out there. Right. So let's watch how that is going to play out. Ripple, let's watch Ripple as well. We've got this move here where we're expecting this to start a move to the upside. We've got not a convincing divergence really. We've got this move here. Is that going to make a move to the upside? Even if it does, even if it just makes a 3-wave structure like this, there's a possibility of that move on Ripple. But how far will Ripple go? We cannot tell at this stage. We just have to get more data on that. Right, so let's go through the US dollar pairs. So nothing much has changed between yesterday's analysis and where we are currently. We still have the DXY having broken above this structure. Looking for these to give us we've got 3-wave structure up here. 1, 2, 3. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 1. We need to get a corrective structure here for another 3 to the upside. That we're going to expect downside. We're looking for this bigger corrective structure. Same thing we're expecting on the euro. For the downside, like that. On the 4-hour, there's no trade setup. You cannot take this on the 4-hour. Let's check in on the 1 hour. Do we have a trade setup on the 1 hour? You might just have a trade setup on the 1 hour, but not looking very good at this stage. It's a move up, it's a move down. We may get one bounce to the upside. If we get a bounce to the upside, you can look to take this trade to the downside on the 1 hour. Right, so that is euro US dollar, pound US dollar. Pound US dollar on the 1 hour is showing us downside. So we're going to see this one correcting for one more down. Remember what I said yesterday? This looks like 5 waves to the downside. So even if you do get a setup for downside here, you need to be very careful. If you get a good entry here, as soon as you get to this level, move it to break even, because from here, you can start getting a deeper correction on pound US dollar. Okay, so that's, you need to be very careful with that. US dollar here, Chief, we're expecting that we're going to have a bit of an upside here. It is pushing a little bit higher. It's pushing up a little bit higher from around these levels. Nothing new here, so possibly to complete this structure here. US dollar CAD, a bit of a bounce. Expect a corrective structure. We're going to see a possible move to the upside here. On the 1 hour, we are at the bottom here. We remain above 50. Any correction here that confirms upside, we're going to see a 3-wave move to the upside on US dollar CAD. Audi, a bit of a bounce, doesn't mean anything. Will this bounce make 3 waves? As follows, and then downside. Be careful now, because as far as the indicator is concerned, we cannot see any further upside here. So this can actually reverse from current levels. So if you want to manage this, what you want to do is, if you see a strong 1 hour candle or 1 hour candle rather, you can take that trade, put your stop there, and let it run, because the indicator is showing us downside, further downside on the 1 hour. New Zealand, the same. So without even seeing a 3-wave pullback here, this can actually be coming down as follows. Even if that move to the downside is this, you'll be in the trade. US dollar ZAR pushing up higher with pushing up higher. Remember what we're expecting on US dollar ZAR. We're expecting this move at around 1560. We're expecting it to get here. That is the expectation on US dollar ZAR. Pound yen, as I said yesterday, we still expect further upside. On the 1 hour, looks like we're going to have a move to the downside with these 3 waves. So let's see how it's going to play out. So are we going to get the make a bounce here before resuming upside? As it is on the 1 hour, we are still seeing more downside. But it will be against the trend. Remember, that will be against the trend. US dollar yen, we're still expecting more upside. A break above here, we'll see US dollar yen push a little bit higher. Euro yen, the same, expecting a little bit higher. If this is going to be a 1, 2, 3, we're going to expect further upside. Remember what I showed you yesterday or during the weekly outlook? Just check that out again. Chief yen. So Chief yen is staying above 50 here on the 1 hour. We are at the bottom here. Are we going to get this to correct? And then upside. Chief yen is not clear at the moment, because it's mostly driven by the chief and not necessarily by the yen. CAD yen is showing us a trade setup for downside. Remember, this is all still against the trend, so we'll be looking for this. That is Chief yen. New Zealand, same, looking downside. 1 hour is already confirming that we're going to see further downside. Very, very risky trades as long as much as they're being confirmed, because this may be 5 waves to the downside, gives through the last 5, start correcting with a deeper one. Audi yen, the same structure. All indications are for downside, provided this stays below 50. Gold, we're going to see finally a bounce from current levels. Let's revert back to the bigger corrective structure. The bigger structure, and I've shown you why we're expecting this corrective structure to complete and for gold to resume upside when that structure is complete. Okay, so we'll be looking for that. If this is a 3 waves down here and this is a pullback, we may have another one here, 3 waves down before we push to the upside. That will be a WXY structure on gold. Showed this yesterday. We are still looking pretty bearish on gold on that correction. Silver 1 hour, we want to see this one broken to the downside. That will eventually, this will be 3 waves down, but that will be eventually breaking this corrective structure here. Then we'll start seeing this downside here around these levels. That is silver and gold. Brent crude, nothing changes. Correction, looking for further upside. Let's go to the pound pairs. So pound pairs, pound chief, we did say that we are expecting continuation to the upside. This looks like it's going to come and reset, and this is going to continue to the upside. Pound CAD has already shown the reversal. Last week, we were actually waiting to see if we're going to have a break to the downside here. As you can see, we've now had a reversal candle. So what we'll be looking at here is to see if we're going to have this. But not good trades to look at right now. Now, pound UAUD, that's the one that we spoke about yesterday. So this is a very nice trade potential for a good trade here, because we'll be looking for this at current levels. We've broken out of the daily structure, and now we're going to be looking for this continuation to the upside. Any confirmation of a pattern for upside. So the 1 hour does not necessarily have a setup there. The 4 hour, there's no setup for upside. You can see 1, 2, 3 there, but we've broken up as well. But if you look at the stock, it's at the top. The RSI is where we want it to be if we're going to be buying. But let's see if we don't get a trade setup on the 1 hour. A trade setup on the 1 hour would be a very good one to take if we do find one. So keep an eye on this on the 1 hour. If it stays above 50 and this starts giving us just a close above this, we get involved in pound Audi. We start looking for pound Audi upside. Pound New Zealand, the same. We're looking for this to push up higher. Wait for these confirmations. Those are going to be very good trades for upside. Let's look at the euros. Euros, we've had these strong pulsing moves to the upside that looked like we're going to give us a continuation to the upside, but now the RSI has now dipped below 50. At this point, we're looking for euro pound. I think I'm confusing this with Euro Audi and Euro New Zealand. We'll have a look at those. So because pound pairs look to be resuming upside, this one should continue lower. So any pullback here will result in this one continue to the downside. Euro Audi. All the same, what we want here is a clear corrective structure. Let's look at this on the 4 hour. See what we're getting on the indicators. So the 4 hour, all the indicators are at the top, but for RSI, we prefer it there if we're going to be buying this. So if this is going to give us a nice corrective structure at the top here, we're going to look to take it to the upside. Euro New Zealand is the same structure. So let's wait for these structures to build up here. If we get these very good trades, even if it is short term, to make 3-wave structures, will be very good ones to take against the trend. EuroCAD has made a bounce. Yesterday or last week on Friday, we were looking at this one to have broken above this corrective structure, but look at the indicators and we look like we're dipping below 50. So this is showing us another move to the downside. Okay, so we're looking for a downside here on the Euro CAD, and that may be followed by the rest of the Euro pairs here. Let's look at Euro Audi again. Okay, so Euro Audi has not dipped below 50, so that's not a strong move to the downside, and Euro New Zealand also not showing downside below 50. So let's see how this is gonna play out. Euro CAD, however, is below 50. Euro Chief showing us downside. We are at the bottom here. If this starts going below 50, this can be doing this structure. Let's look at the rest of the crosses. Audi, New Zealand, this is just a pullback for continuation to the downside. Audi CAD, bit of a pullback here, but we are well below 50. Let's see how this is going to play out. As much as this at the bottom doesn't matter because we've got this sharp impulse move to the downside. Have this, let's go again to the daily like I did yesterday. Have the crosses reached the end of their moves? Have they reached the end of their moves? This is the 5-wave structure. So if they have reached the end of their moves, there was divergence there between 3 and 5. Looks like we're going to get something like this, back to around 50, 61% of this whole move. This move started in April last year. So until then, we've not had a deeper correction except for this one, which we looked at as a wave 4. And then this one looks like a 5. Are we going to get this one now correcting the whole thing for upside? Let's see how that's going to play out. So they all have the same structure. Audi Chief also showing this bullish candle to the downside. Is this the end of the move? Are we going to start seeing this? New Zealand CAD. Pullback after this 3 up, 3 down. Are we going to see this one come to the downside? It's going to be very interesting what comes next after this. New Zealand Chief, 1, 2, 3, same structure. We've got a pulsing move. We're going to see a correction here. Let's see what confirms this. So the structures are clear. We're just now waiting to find opportunities where we can get these trades. So here again, CAD Chief broke the top here, makes a pulsing move to the downside. Are we going to see this one come down here after making this structure here? So we can have that and then upside, or this is actually done as 1, 2, and a 3, and we're coming down. So let's watch this confirmations here. Going to be very interesting. S&P 500. Nothing has changed between the indices from the indices analysis from yesterday. We're still at the same place. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Except the UK 100 may be giving us this structure. So we were expecting this structure on the UK 100 on the daily, that it gives us at least a move here. So as much as we can still be expecting that move, it may not happen in that straight line. We may get this, and then downside. There's that possibility. And then that will be 1, 2, 3 before downside. So let's watch and see how that's going to play out. Otherwise, for the rest, still the same structure. The DAX looks like it's still going to break to the upside here. All we're going to be waiting is a daily close above this to confirm further upside. Nikkei, same. These pullbacks are very minor. We'll expect continuation to the upside. Nifty, expecting continuation to the upside from here. All right, so, and that's all for today, guys. Sweet and short. Mark is saying could be an expanding flat for one more down. Sorry, I missed that chat. I was not looking at your comment. I'm not sure which chat you were referring to. Right, guys, sweet and short. Video will be up shortly on the website. Thank you very much for attending. We'll see you tomorrow. Those that are attending the course, I will see you tonight, same time at 8:30 GMT. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.